The smell of roasted coffee beans drifted through the little cafe on Maple Street, mingling with the faint hum of soft jazz and the gentle patter of rain against the windows. It was a slow evening, the kind that stretched endlessly, where time moved lazily and customers came in one at a time, mostly to escape the chill outside. Lila stood behind the counter, wiping the same spot over and over, lost in thought. Her fingers were numb, her back ached, and her mind kept drifting to the unpaid bills stacked on her kitchen table. The rent was due in 3 days, and even with the double shifts she'd been taking, she wasn't sure she could make it. But she never let the weariness show. Every time the bell above the door chimed, she looked up with a smile, because kindness didn't cost her anything, and in her world, it was the only thing she still had plenty of. It was nearly closing time when the door opened again, letting in a gust of cold air. Lila glanced up to see a man standing hesitantly at the entrance. His coat was torn, his beard thick and unkempt, and his shoes were falling apart. The rain had soaked him through. For a moment, he just stood there, glancing around as if he wasn't sure he belonged inside. The other customers stared. A woman near the window whispered something to her friend and clutched her purse tighter. Lila felt a pang in her chest. She'd seen this before, the looks, the murmurs, the quiet disgust. But she didn't hesitate. "Good evening," she said gently, offering the warmest smile she could muster. "You can sit anywhere you like." The man looked surprised, as if he hadn't expected anyone to speak kindly to him. He walked slowly to the counter, his hands trembling. "Ma'am," he began, his voice hoarse, "I'm sorry to bother you. Do you think I could get something hot to drink? I don't have much money, but maybe I can sweep the floor or—" Before he could finish, Lila shook her head. She poured a steaming cup of coffee, grabbed a sandwich from the display case, and placed both in front of him. "Don't worry about it," she said softly. "It's on the house." His eyes widened in disbelief. "I can't take that," he said, shaking his head. "You'll get in trouble." Lila smiled. "Then think of it as a gift. Everyone deserves something warm on a night like this." He stared at her for a long moment before wrapping his hands around the cup. The warmth seemed to spread up his arms, melting the tension in his shoulders. He nodded slowly. "Thank you," he murmured, almost to himself. "Thank you." He took a seat in the corner, far from everyone else. Lila watched him sip his coffee, eating the sandwich in small, careful bites as if he didn't want it to end. The sight made her chest ache. From behind the espresso machine, her manager's voice cut through the quiet. "Lila," Rick barked, "you giving free meals again?" She flinched but turned to face him. "He needed it, Rick. It's just a sandwich." Rick's face tightened. "This is a business, not a soup kitchen. You want to feed the whole street, do it with your own money." Lila bit her lip. "I'll pay for it," she said quietly. Rick threw up his hands. "You always say that. Keep this up, and you'll be out of a job before the month's over." She didn't argue. She'd learned long ago that some people saw compassion as weakness, and Rick was one of them. She just nodded, forcing herself to stay calm as he stomped off to the back office. When the cafe emptied out later, Lila wiped the tables one last time. The man was still sitting in the corner, staring at the last drop of coffee in his cup. As she passed his table, he looked up at her with tired, grateful eyes. "You're kind," he said softly. "Most people don't even look at me. They see the dirt, not the man." Lila smiled, faintly. "You're human, same as anyone else. Don't let the world make you forget that." He nodded, swallowing hard. "What's your name?" "Lila," she said. He gave a small smile. "Thank you, Lila. You've given me more than coffee tonight." And with that, he stood and walked out into the rain, disappearing into the dark. Lila didn't expect to see him again. People like that, people who'd lost everything, usually didn't come back. They drifted through towns like ghosts, unseen and unheard. But the next morning, the cafe was buzzing with customers when the door opened again, and the man who stepped inside made the whole place fall silent. He was tall, clean-shaven, and dressed in an immaculate navy blue suit. His shoes gleamed, his hair was neatly combed, and a gold watch peeked from under his cuff. He carried himself with quiet confidence, the kind that made people instinctively move aside. Rick was at the register, and his eyes lit up. "Good morning, sir. Welcome to Maple Cafe. Table for one." The man's gaze swept the room before landing on Lila. His face softened into a smile. "No, thank you. I'm here to see her." Lila blinked, confused. "Me?" Rick frowned, glancing between them. "Her. She's just—" But before he could finish, the man stepped closer. "You don't recognize me, do you?" Lila looked at him carefully, and then her breath caught. There was something familiar in his eyes, the same warmth, the same quiet sadness. Wait, he nodded, the man you helped last night. I cleaned up, got a haircut, and found some clothes in my car. I wanted to see you again. Rick's jaw dropped. You had a car. The man turned to him coolly. Yes, in fact, I have several. Because I own this cafe, and the entire chain. The room went dead silent. A spoon clattered somewhere, Rick's face drained of color. The man continued, I built this business 20 years ago with my late wife. It was supposed to be a place where anyone, rich or poor, could sit down, feel safe, and be treated with dignity. But lately, I've heard stories that some of my staff have forgotten that. He glanced at Lila and smiled gently. But not you. You treated me with kindness when you had no reason to. You made me remember why this place mattered. Rick stammered, Sir, I didn't know. The man's voice hardened. No, you didn't. You saw a man who looked poor and judged him. She saw a person and helped. Lila's cheeks burned. Sir, I didn't do it for anything. I just didn't want someone to go hungry. And that, the man said softly, is exactly why I want you on my management team. She blinked, unable to speak. What, you're being promoted, he said simply. Starting today, and when you're ready, I'll train you myself to run one of our new branches. Lila's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to say. He smiled. Just keep being you, Lila. That's all this world needs more of. And as he turned to leave, the morning sun broke through the clouds, spilling golden light across the cafe floor. For the first time in a long while, Lila felt something she hadn't felt in years, hope. Because sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can change everything.